Authenticate is officially here. It's taken a long time to get all this stuff beautifully into a landing page that you're seeing here and be able to deliver it in a way that I've had as a vision for so long. So, welcome if you've clicked on this video. It immediately tells me you care. You care about you care about the work that you're doing, and you're invested enough in yourself that you know that there needs to be a level of refinement that is ongoing in the work that we do within and in how we hold space. So I'm going to take you through the Authenticate program and why you should be here. And obviously, there's a lot more to see in the page. So binge away and we will get into it. So, who the fuck am I guess, to be running something like this? And I'm Jackson Godding. If you don't already know me, I'm the founder of Fine Reason Therapy, and I've been a therapist for 10 years. Now, I have been called to work with coaches, therapists, facilitators for a long time and diving in headfirst to commit fully to being able to serve and honor this work. Now, not only have I been in the trenches and working with the most complex trauma in the state when I was working with really, really vulnerable young people in Western Sydney, all the way to then working with victims of crime that have been all different types of abuse that have happened. I've been right in there working with complex trauma and wanting to work with complex trauma because that's my thing. So it was a bit of a grieving process to slowly let that go as I started to watch the need for trauma work to be done properly, knowing that how many people are facilitating in a way that allows for someone else to work through their bigness and their big, big shit that potentially comes up. And there's lots of different ways to work with someone. So, what is it that's going to make sure that we're doing this in the best way and honor someone else's journey, but also respect the fucking work? So, that is where Authenticate's kind of been built. Now, who am I to even bring something like this is because it's a lifelong journey of recovery and codependency. So I've been there. I've not just heard someone else's story. I've lived a lot of these stories. I've been in a lot of these emotional pains and shames that still can have an impact on my life. And ongoing recovery is something I'm so devoted to. So all of the Authenticate program is backed by the model of self-worth that I've created and adapted based on all the legacies that have been passed on to me, my recovery journey, my trauma, and then what I've seen work beautifully with everyone that I have worked with, and also just how it can help become a framework for being able to show up in my life. So I live the work. And that's what helps my recovery the most. And I think that's why I've created it into something like a trauma training mentorship where we can actually not just do the work, but be the work, become the work. So I'm hoping that gives you a little bit of an idea that I still live and breathe this shit. I am here to create legacies that can ripple, and I honor the intensity of the work and then the simplicity of what's available to be able to create pure and beautiful change and transformation, as well as deep integration to be able to keep showing up for myself with worth, not just within, but for the people I work with as well. So, Authenticate. I have put a lot of people through the self-worth model. My staff are trained in it. There's other leaders that are trained in it across Australia. And after thousands of hours with working with clients and practitioners, I just keep seeing the same pattern is incredible facilitators who knew the work but hadn't yet become it. And that's where they've done a lot of different trainings and they've done the certifications. Maybe they've gone through the front door and got their qualifications, or maybe they've been through the back door and are still now holding the space for what ends up being someone's trauma, whether we're working with someone in a way that is just around depression or the relationship issues. It all comes back to trauma. And if you don't agree, do not stay on this video and do not look at this landing page, because this is what this work is about. It's being able to start to see that, yes, maybe you've done a lot of different trainings, modalities, tools, techniques, and theory, but they all sit in different boxes. rather than the mind and the body and the soul coming together in harmony, in synergy, and actually working from that place. So I don't believe that they're ever quite communicating. So when you're in that space and you've been here doing what's going to be the next thing, when the pressure kind of hits, what I want to know, if you're with that client or group or even in your own life, are you tightening? Are you overthinking? Are you going back to the structure or going back to the board in your sessions, or breaking down and forgetting everything that you know? Because fuck, man, it still can happen to me, and that's the power of recovery. But it's also something that in session I really want to keep refining. So if that's someone that sounds like you, I am assuming you don't necessarily need more knowledge. Maybe a little bit of knowledge can't hurt, but you need safety in your own system and then need true integration of this work. That's what I think creates the fucking craziest amounts of change is actually integration. It's not just transformation. We see in these aha moments. It's then what? Stepping inside the door that we've opened and then getting used to what's like to be on the other side. So that's why I build Authenticate. It's to bridge the gap between what you know and who you are when it matters most. So when we do the work, we also be the work. So Authenticate is a beautiful synergy of both deeply connecting you to take you through it and then being able to teach you how to do that. So the dilemma that a lot of practitioners come through is you've trained in multiple modalities but can't weave them all together. So they're all kind of fragmented or disjointed. Maybe you manage dysregulation instead of embodying the safety, embodying the presence of this work. You feel confident in theory, but not always in the presence. So you go into your head instead of just being with the other person in the embodied relating. And maybe you're still questioning if your sessions are really truly landing. Maybe they're not as consistent as you'd like. So I am really, all I'm trying to do is just be able to ensure that Authenticate provides you with you, because you're the intervention. You're the reason they're coming there so that they can help be guided to where they want to end up. And that means, can we say that we've integrated the work and we've been able to go to the depth? So if this isn't starting to land for you, then keep on here and I will explain more and more. But I guess to give you a bit of a sense, here's what I'm running and here's some of the trainings that are available for you to also binge if this is a not sure right now kind of time. But it ends with us is really about being the work. Maybe before you're ready to do the full certification trauma training of Authenticate, you want to deepen just you and take off the hat of being a practitioner and fully devote yourself to your own journey of recovery. That's my retreat. That's End with Us. You can jump over to the other landing page there and look at how amazing some of the results are. What I end up seeing is everyone that's done Authenticate wants to get their ass to It Ends With Us because of the fucking power and talking about integration that comes from being able to then deepen within the group space, plus then being able to hold capacity. So I could do that in group as well. So bringing Authenticate into the group lens is pretty powerful too. The trainings that sit on my app, Be the Reason, are stuff that you can go and binge now. So before you do more work, there is also the Refinement Roundtable, which is included in Authenticate, but it's a place where we can then have leaders that are sharing, getting supervision, and constantly refining their work through case reflection, looking at what's going on internally for them, and then together working in this beautiful way. This is included in Authenticate, but it's also available for people that want to jump in and work with other trauma-focused leaders that are really showing up and refining their craft. Why the Work Ain't Working is my free training. You can jump on there, just figure out why this guy, maybe really getting an idea of how I understand and express the model, being able to work deeply with me if you're still on the fence. But stay with me. Well, this is the last one. The nervous system trauma training that I did is the most advanced trauma training that you have when it comes to the nervous system. I'm a big believer in our nervous system is the intervention. And that's what this training is about, by understanding all my models and frameworks that you can deep dive into here as well. All those things are included within Authenticate, but also as standalone trainings. So the three-step process, all of what I do is about these three-step processes. For the practitioner, we are also just as invested to reclaiming your worth This is about doing the deep personal work, getting even more acutely aware to once you thought you already were, to then really sharpening iron on iron. This is what unlocks the most potential when you end up working with clients. From here, we move to integrating your tools. Bring your modalities into one embodied flow. This is where we finally go, I can just let my presence do the talking and I will just whisk and magically bring together what the client needs. Then embodying the work. Lead with authenticity, refinement, and legacy. This is an ongoing process. It's like enlightenment. We're going to constantly keep landing, starting to feel into and marinate into how beautiful it is to really live and be the work. So that's the three-step process that we really take everyone on in a journey towards. So this is my model. I'm not going to go into detail around it. There is other videos, but we deep dive into this sense of things. This is the nature of a child. We are safe, attuned, and connected. We're born authentic, dependent, imperfect, vulnerable, and have worth. This is then where we start to have a less than nurturing experience or trauma. And this is where we start to then have that doubt of that worth. So, how I really sit and work with everyone is really being able to just sit in this model, in this framework, and use everything else that's put around this. So, if we look at being safe, attuned, and connected, and I'll just do this one for argument's sake instead of doing the deep dive on the whole training, is if we were disconnected and misattuned, we're going to have massive issues foundationally. And then we can see instead of authenticity, we have to learn to wear masks, moderate ourselves and maybe play a certain role. This is going to create these wounded experiences, and then no one wants to be wounded, so they end up adapting. Now, if we look at the wounded child versus the adapted teenager, this is where I start to pull in all of the work that you might have learned and then really being able to shape it. This goes deeper than any parts work that you've ever done and really integrates all of parts work together, right? We've got family systems, we've got the integrated family models, we've got Pia Melody's work, we've got Jung's work, shadow work, all pulled into this to be able to really tangibly break down how to do the work. So we then step into what do we then do with this? Coming home is all about reparenting. I need to give myself back this beautiful triangle. So we start to look at what does that look like. We're really helping. All we're doing is beautifully finding a way exactly how to meet someone where they are for ourselves and then with our clients to find worth from within, protect and contain ourselves, accept our imperfections, learn to meet the needs of self and others, and be able to be spontaneous, open, and moderate in the self. We do that through beautifully reparenting in lots of different ways and processes. So, there's a few people that have come through the whole journey, all my staff, as well as all of the people that have actually finished and done Authenticate. I'm not sure why that keeps disappearing, but there are so many more of these. And if you've come this far, I'm sure that you don't necessarily need to see, but there are videos further down if you want to check out what other people have to say, because this work is incredibly powerful because it's not just about learning some more theories, it's about doing the work on yourself. So check out, you'll see some videos below, and these are just other testimonials that I've got. I'm not trying to sell you anything in a way that's going to feel pushy or punchy, but I will let the work speak for itself and what ends up being possible. So check out the videos from Nico below. They're pretty impressive and amazing as to where he's been able to get, where everything in his life changed, not just the way that he shows up in his work. So what happens inside Authenticate? You go through the same depth of work you'll one day facilitate, because that's how real mastery is built. That's what it is. 12-week intensive deep diving on our own shit while then learning how to do that. We refine your system. We help you feel safe in your own nervous system again, more safe than you may be right now. So when intensity arises, you can stay present, steady, and clear. We then teach you how to do that with your clients naturally. We also then teach how to deliver from that state, your nervous system being the intervention, how to integrate every tool you've ever learned into one coherent, embodied way of working. It's not about adding more modalities. This isn't a modality. It's a model. It's frameworks to be able to then apply everything you've ever learned through this lens and then weaving yourself back into it. Our relationship, our embodied relationship with the people that we work with is what the true work is. And the more that we step into that, the more embodiment, the more integrated we become, the more results we get, and the more incredible we feel doing it. So, the program is getting beefed up. There is so much different trainings that sit within here on top of what's possible in the actual 12 weeks that we do. And then 12 months of refinement roundtable where we then sit in group supervision and then 6 one-on-one sessions with me for supervision. So essentially it's 12 months plus 12 weeks. So a lot of big container with some of the best leaders that have done trauma work done properly. Then lifetime access to all of this content and more. I just can't fit it on the page. And I'm always updating and adding, and you will get ongoing content access to that sort of thing. So we've got the models, we've got safety and stability, devoted knowing, deep knowing, devoted nurture, which I'll take you through in a second. But pretty much all this stuff is going to be beautifully there available for you to just be able to go, boom, doing boundaries this week with my clients. Let's go. Or I've got my own shame coming back up again. Boom, let's go, you know? So it's a beautiful place where you can keep going, which is just our trauma archives. And yeah, I love that that's available as well, ongoing. And I love putting stuff in here. So this will always be stacked. Let me take you through the self-worth model as I wrap things up and hopefully get you on a call to see if you're a right fit for Authenticate, get you in that application to see if this is going to be for you. But a framework that we sort of sit under, and I think that all work comes back down to self-worth, and those two things, self-worth and relationships, is what trauma is. So when we're able to reclaim that, that's what sets us free from our trauma. So we start with deep knowing. We've got to be able to understand who we are and where we're at right now, and the deep understanding of the intake process and the screening process that's needed to be able to work with someone to make sure that they have this foundational safety and stability work of trauma processing. So we go from deep knowing into the devotion to nurturing ourselves. This is where non-negotiable self-care comes in, my trademark beautiful training that's nothing new, nothing fucking you haven't heard before, but it's reclaiming self-care back to what it should be, boundaries. And every time we do it, it's honoring our worth. So we get really, really clear on the body. We get really beautifully able to understand how, as a therapist, we can start to track, frame, meet, and sit and inquire with the people working against and next to us and in front of us. The guts of this work is where the most sort of change sort of happens. Once we're in the sort of space we're working with clients, we're getting them acutely aware. Now, the more acutely aware you get, the more genuine compassion that they need, which then creates that inner attunement. And then the more acutely aware and compassionate you get, you got to be able to look at who's in charge, who's going to lead this. We need to move from in instinctual protection, which is all our parts, into an intuitive protection, which is how we lead, how we reparent. So with that, we then have boundaried clarity, and together with compassion and intuitive protection, we got that beautiful reparenting. Now, the complete opposite. Oh no, one more. The integration is the forever model of how we keep showing up for ourselves and all these pillars of self-worth. Is absolute accountability and everlasting love. This is how we stay rooted in intention and continue to flow through ongoingly. Always come back to that, looking at which pillar needs some of me, more of me. The complete opposite of the guts is where shame lives. Shame sits in denial, criticism, neglect. The more that we can understand this in the most simplified way, then we can work with anyone's trauma. Really, it's all rooted back to shame, the root of all trauma. So when we can look at it from this way, what we're trying to do is inverse this and give worth back. This is what creates true freedom and transformation. So you want results, you want tangible evidence, you want transformation. Practitioners who go through this work don't just get better results, they get their life back. That's what Nico said. It impacted literally everything in his life. Their work becomes lighter, their presence deepens, and their clients drop in faster because they can because they can. They can finally feel you, they can sit with you, and they can be witnessed by you. This is where we get to become unshakable in how we lead and how we serve and how we honor the work, where we're able to then hold others and go to the depth because we've been able to hold ourselves through the same depth. If this is sounding like a bit of you, then I want you in the program. Let's just jump on a call anyway. You will fill out a couple of the application forms below, check out some of the stuff or binge some of my content and get into it. I'm always available in the DMs on Instagram, or you can just give me a call if you're still unsure. Any questions, let me know. I'd be honored to take you through Authenticate. And if you've come this far, something is calling you forward. And that is so pure and so beautiful. And I'd love to tease it out and pull it apart. Cheers.